My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Before we go into the nitty-gritties of reviewing the first half of this game between Sri Lanka and the West Indies, quickly take you back to 2016, where one side on the at Eden Gardens, Ian Bishop asked us to remember a particular name, and we did. In the same year, in the Under-19 World Cup, a young man by the name of Veerahandike Avishka Fernando was playing an innings of 95 of 96 balls in the quarter-final of the Under-19 World Cup in Dhaka against England. That's the time a talent was unearthed. Today, we truly saw at the senior stage what it was just made of. Now let me come to my experts in the studio, Zaheer Khan, Robin Uthappa, to see exactly what they thought of this young man who has now blossomed.
Yeah, I've been going gaga over him from the time I saw him bat in the first game. So for me, I think I'm really happy that he's got 100, and I think he's a player for the future, like I've already said. But I also think that he'll be one of Sri Lanka's mainstays after Mahela and Sangha. I think he's someone that who can actually play that role for Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka need that role to be performed by somebody, and he seems like the man for it. And if he goes in the same vein, he might be down for some greatness down the line now.
And you could hear Sangakkara on commentary how desperate Sri Lanka are to find a replacement almost for those legends, and how relieved he sounded watching him walk out there.
Yeah, it's great to see someone making that impact. They've won a series in South Africa as well. So that's something which they've done well in Test matches. In terms of talent, like we've always been saying, and I've maintained with Sri Lankan cricket, the talent is there. Just that the fact which is not happening with Sri Lankan cricket is that giving youngsters a long run. You've seen in last 2 years there are so many players who've been tried, and you still see those some old faces which are still around, particularly with batting. You had someone like Gunatilaka also making that impact in Champions Trophy for Sri Lanka, reviving their campaign in that tournament, and Fernando is also on the same lines. He has everything what it takes to be successful at this level. It's just about how you shape up and how your association also backs you. So Cricket Sri Lanka also has got a huge role to play here in terms of, especially post World Cup, because now we know that their campaign is pretty much over. It's about future planning, who can step up. They've identified a skipper now who is a young skipper. They're seeing him as a leader. Now who else? Just a captain alone is not going to be able to do things for any team. So they have to give him the bunch of boys who can rally around him, and under his leadership go forward. So I think from that point of view, someone like Fernando is going to go a long way in terms of taking that Sri Lankan cricket forward, because in 3 matches in World Cup, he has certainly grabbed everyone's attention, and that's very important.
Robin, we see the 49, we raved about him that day, we saw that the talent was there on show at Headingley. But when we moved up north to Chestiller Street, or not actually up north, a little bit east, we now see that the talent you can add the temperament to the talent to stay there and make the 100.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you were saying earlier on in the show that you just want, like sometimes you just want to give a rap on his knuckles. But he's 21. He's going to make those mistakes, and those mistakes are going to hold him in good stead moving forward. Because if you go all well, then when failure hits you, because it's going to hit you, when a slump hits you, then you don't know how to deal with it. So it's good that he's experiencing all of these things in conjunction, so that for him moving forward will be an easier path. For me, when I look at the Sri Lankan batting order, it looks like the first 3 are set right now. I wouldn't want to mess with it for the next couple of years. And I really hope Sri Lankan cricket really take a note of the performances and stick to this group for the next 2 or 3 years, because everyone's young. They have age on their side, and it's about nurturing those youngsters, giving them a sense of security within that group to go out there and perform, to make them feel a part of that family. Cricket, when it's played as a big group, as a family, you just can produce so many results. And I'm sure Zach Bhai will speak from experience. I can speak from experience on the fact that when teams have won, it's that there's a sense of well-being, there's a sense of family within that group, and that's why the team goes on to win. And you really hope that Sri Lankan cricket can create that kind of an atmosphere so that these guys can come through the ranks and really produce results for Sri Lankan cricket.
When you said 3, I think we should add Kusal Mendes to that top.
We have to, but I was going to say 5, but I would say 4 for now with Kusal Mendes also, and then Lahiru Thiramanni today, as in for all reasons and purposes today, he seemed a little out of sorts, but you can see, in spite of being out of sorts, he still scored 42 of 30. 45 of 33 balls. You know that if he plays in that position long enough, or the number 5 position long enough, then you know that after Angelo Matthews is done, you know that he can take that spot at number 5 and still produce results if he plays there long enough. You need to give someone exposure in that particular position for a period of time before you can tell them that, okay, this is his position. You can, as in, if you don't give them a long enough rope at particular positions, you can't tell them that, okay, he's not good here, he's not good there, he's not good there. You got to give them a long enough rope to say, okay, that is my number 3, that is my number 4, and that is my number 5.
Yes, it's not often that we actually salute an individual performance over the team effort, but on this occasion I think it demanded that. But that was a reminder that 338 is what Sri Lanka got, thanks not just to the efforts of Avishka Fernando, but great start from Kusal Perera as well. And even after he got out, they continued. And the difference this time around was that every other time they might have got 100, they might have got 140, but that middle order just crumbled. This time it stayed firm, and that's why they got to the score that they got. Have a look at that. 204 for 4 between 21 and 40, and that's what really mattered. Between 11 and 40, 204 for 4. And this is the period of 3 segments that they were not very good in throughout the tournament.
Well, I mean, when you look at these numbers, they're very consistent. It talks about the solid start which we've seen in the tournament, how teams have gone on about after creating that kind of platform, not losing wickets in the first 10, gives you that luxury of putting pressure on the bowlers, and even though they lost a couple of wickets in that phase, the second 10-over phase, they still had enough batting order. The platform was set, So these are the kind of differences which we've seen. We've seen it with 2 teams in this tournament who have not been consistent with their batting performances. One was Sri Lanka and the other one was South Africa. The moment they turned it around, they looked completely different side. And today that's what happened with Sri Lanka as well. The moment your batting comes along, it gives that support to the bowling as well, which we'll see in the second half. So this kind of inspired performances rubs off in a team environment. So that's what we've seen. It was like a perfect batting card as you expect in any given day. You would want your openers to start well. Then after that, you have someone to go on to get that big 100. It could have been Kusal Perera as well, but Fernando was there to get that 100. Wicket is a good wicket, so that always helps, so the likes of Thiramanni can come and finish strong. So that's what we've seen. So it was consistent performance. So even if the last 10 overs have not fetched the usual hammering what we've seen so far in the World Cup, they still managed to get to a total which they would be very happy with and back themselves to defend.
Yeah, I think let's have a look at the partnerships, and I'll come back to what Robin said briefly in between. He just sort of whispered while we were watching the game, and he said they should not try to get 350, 360, they'll fall short. Let them try to get 320, they'll end up with 330 plus, which, Robin, is exactly what happened because of the partnerships.
See, the innings progression, if you look at the innings progression, it's a testimony of the Sri Lankan partnerships. The partnerships have what has been critical to the innings progression, right? The fact that they can play at 6.4, 6, 8, 8.5 is simply because of the partnerships that have been scored. The first wicket had 93 runs. The third wicket had another 90 odd runs. The fourth wicket 50 odd runs. The fifth wicket again 50, 60 odd runs. So you see that becomes critical, and in all of that, one name is consistent. That's Fernando. So the whole idea here is, if one person holds fort and the others revolve around him positively with a positive intent, then you know that these partnerships keep stringing along. And the guy who's holding fort, if he's a positive player, if he's someone who gets runs easily, who's someone who looks to score boundaries, who looks to play positive with a positive intent, then these scores will be a norm for Sri Lanka. So it's a great thing from Sri Lanka's perspective, and I truly hope for Sri Lankan cricket they use these matches as the platform from which they will build their cricket for the next 5 years till the World Cup.
Yes, absolutely.
The following one that comes up, right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
The one that comes up.
It just shows there are times when you get to a 338, you have to really sort of huff and puff and get there and have some go berserk, somebody goes ballistic. But if you have this sort of progression, Sri Lanka have showed just how to do it. And if they somehow had found yet another kick, who knows, it could have been 360 plus. Let's talk a little bit about the West Indian bowling, and certainly they'll have some introspection to do, because it was not always necessarily about the skills of bowling. It was sometimes about the body language that we found missing from everyone outside maybe a Cottrell, Holder and Fabian Allen, who were there in the field with the ball. But outside that, they were a little flat.
No, Jason Holder was having a tough day out there.
Yeah, he was.
He was trying hard to motivate his troops. It was like an effort, and animated, exaggerated moments also at times in the field. Really, I think he felt helpless at times. That his bowlers were not really up to the mark. Someone like Gabriel also was having a tough day, so he had to turn towards Brathwaite, which is the unsolved mystery of this World Cup, that Carlos Brathwaite is consistently bowling in those back end.
What is
overs,
that all about? Because see, you look at Fabian Allen's bowled 8 overs of 44 and at 5.5 runs, and here Shannon Gabriel's gone for runs today, so that's why he's not bowled. But Carlos Brathwaite had no business bowling past the 44th over.
Yeah, he had that 5-over spell. You thought that next two should be from Fabian Allen.
Yeah, somewhere those Carlos Brathwaite should have finished with 5 overs and Fabian Allen should have finished with 10, right? And even if he had given 55 runs, he would have still been at the same, economy.
It's just the mystery of this World Cup.
It is, yeah. It's just a little
But I think he was running out of options as well.
Also, had Fabian Allen bowled 2 more overs, it wouldn't have taken 4 hours to bowl 50 overs.
I want to know what's the rule on slow over rate in this tournament, because no one has really talked about it. I've not heard anyone reacting to the fact that West Indies has been consistently bowling with like 3.5, 4 hours, possibly taking 50 overs to be completed.
They're bowling Caribbean style.
And right throughout the tournament, I've not heard anyone talking about slow over rate. They've been
Just
generally
financial and
penalties.
That's it. There's nothing.
No, financial penalties are there. There are run penalties as well.
Well, run penalties are not.
Are there run penalties anymore? I don't know.
I don't think run penalties are not there anymore. They should be.
No, there's run penalty for running on the wicket as well, and there's run penalty for
not for slow over rates.
For the running on the wicket then.
Only for, I think.
They should introduce, I think, the run penalty for slower rate. That's something which will really get everyone going.
Yeah, especially with them bowling like this at this pace. You know that they're little laid, like first of all they're laid back. Now they haven't qualified for the semis. Now they're even more laid back.
No, I can tell you, Gautam, there was a time when you had a very simple rule. At the 3.5 hour mark, if you say bowl 45 overs, then that's the number of overs you'll have to chase down the target.
Well, yeah. So I don't know if that would be fair, because there's so many aspects that come into play. But they have to come up. I think they will come up with something that would.
You can actually give them the run rate penalty.
You know what? Yeah,
what happens? Some team has been
what happened in
338. That is more than 6 runs per over. What is it? Close to 7 runs. So that's the penalty they get per over.
No,
but all the overs that they bowl beyond the 3.5.
The best way to get the team to bowl quickly and get all the fielders to also move quickly between the overs is to cut even like what they do in Ranji Trophy in IPL. So if you bowl late, if you bowl above time in the first game, captains 20%, players 10% match fees gets deducted. Second game 30%. Second game 50% captain, 20% players. Third game captain sits out. 50% on the players.
Sits out is okay, that's fine, that works. But for otherwise, does it really work?
Yeah, man. So imagine
at the international level.
You're eating off your someone's earnings, right? It's what puts food on the table. So if you're cutting that off, then they're gonna say, hey, I'm just being lazy. Might as well just pick my pace up.
But if you've got a massive feast on the table and you take one dish away,
no, it does make a difference. People
Fair
just because we play the game doesn't mean that we're all laid back and everything's easy.
No, I didn't mean that.
But everything adds up, and you see the difference in effort.
No, I'm not saying it shouldn't matter. All I'm saying is if you stack up on-field penalty, which is runs, which is going to affect the match directly, versus something that's going to be a fine, which anyway happens later on.
Well, I know. I was just talking about what happens in the IPL, right? That's the rule in the IPL. So we know that once say, for instance, DK got fined, I think, at one point in one game, and then we just discussed within our group that, hey, listen, DK is not the only one losing money. All of us are losing money. Let's make sure that we all add up to that and make sure that he doesn't fall short. Sometimes it would be making sure DK doesn't go to the bowler every second ball and keep him there at the keeper's position. But at other times, we had to make sure we change quickly between the overs, and all those aspects, add a lot. Save a lot of time.
I mean, obviously, sometimes when you were the leader of a bowling group, is there times when you had to go and say, listen, guys, hurry up, because especially when there's more fast bowlers bowling?
I mean, it's just your attitude, I guess. You can actually, and when I was captaining IPL team, that time I used to make sure, even though I used to adjust so much of field placements and stuff like that, I used to do it while the bowler is walking back to the run up. So that really saves time. I mean, that's the time you have to do the adjustments so that when the bowler is ready, you are ready with the game. Also, in between the overs, that time is the most crucial time when if you are lethargic and taking more time, because the bowler, you have to give that comfort to the bowler. By no means we can say that the bowler has to rush. If you have longer run up, you have to do things fast. The others have to adapt and adjust according to how the bowlers are, how the game is going. It's pretty basic. So when you have two spinners, usually, and especially if you have someone like Ravindra Jadeja in your side who finishes over in 2 minutes, then that makes it very easy. But if you have spinners, that makes things easy. But if you have like 4 fast bowlers, which West Indies has, and pretty much all the matches they've been playing with that, so they have to find a way and figure out a way of not taking more than 4 minutes. I think 4 minutes is a long time for you to complete
so
6
if
balls.
I can add in a point, Zach, but I think it's the responsibility of the keeper and the infield fielders, like the ones inside the 30-yard circle, to make sure they move quickly between the overs. They create the intensity in that group. So if the keeper is walking back slowly and the guys in the infield are crossing over slowly, then the intensity of the game really drops. When you see teams that finish quickly, you see the keeper always running back and forth, between overs. They're moving quickly, and the minute the keeper's back in position, everybody feels like, okay, it's going to begin now. So I think it's the keeper and the infielder's responsibility also.
I think it's time for us to go to someone who, if he was captain of a team, everyone would be on their toes, because he has more energy than 11 players in a field put together. So we've sent him to England. He's been centre stage, sending us a lot of stuff with extra energy. What's he got for us today? Here's Danish by the Big Ben. Be careful, Big Ben. Danish is around.
Hey guys, my name is Danish and on center stage it's now time for some gaming. We're right beside the Big Ben. 60 seconds, let's see if people can answer questions about the World Cup.
But why did it ring for first?
That's the nature of the game, Baba. Let's go. Alright, what's your name, brother?
Freddie.
Freddie, are you ready to play by the Big Ben?
I am ready to play.
Are you a huge cricket fan?
I'm a massive cricket fan.
Do you know everything about cricket?
Absolutely.
Are you going to solve this quiz?
I hope so.
Let's start. You're going to be flipping the pages over.
Yeah.
Every time you see a question, you try and solve it quickly. Alright?
Okay.
And if you do well, we'll give you a gift.
Superb.
Let's start. Spot the dusra, you need to match the following here.
Okay, I'm going to go Mark Elam. I'm going to go for Neil Fairbrother. I'm going to go for Dilip Mendis, Akib Diga and Samir Java.
You got 2 wrong. You want to retry?
That's a shame. Well, it's tricky. No.
No? Alright, let's go to the next one.
I want to move on.
Switch hit, you need to organize these jumbled words to make names out of them.
Yeah, got them. Angelo Matthews, Kane Williamson, Kenisa Ravada.
Well done. High five. High five, Freddie. Better one. Alright, let's go. Next
There
one.
we go. That was so...
Name 3 wicket keepers who have captained their teams.
Okay, I'll go for MS Dhoni, Sarfraz, and Kumar Sangakkara.
Excellent. Next one. Replay MS Dhoni. Look at the camera and show us how he bats or keeps. Can you do like a little replay of his for us?
We'll go for one of his helicopters. Bang. There we go.
And this is the last one. This is the DRS. Go for it. World Cup in England. Make a song for us quickly.
That is.
Let's go for it.
World Cup in England time. World Cup in England time. It's Cricket World Cup in England time.
Well done. We're going to give him a gift. Go on, give it. We're going to give you the merch. Hang on. A gift. Okay. So it's a Cricbuzz bat signed by Zaheer Khan.
Superb.
Message for Zaheer. Message for Zaheer.
Thank you very much, Zaheer. Hoping you guys come second on the 14th of July.
Cut it right here.
That was a message to Zaheer Uthappa, Robin Khan, because he can't get the names right. So
He spoke about India being second, but who is going to be the first?
I'm assuming he's English.
They're
so
still not qualified.
Yeah. If only he could hear that. If only he could hear that.
I like the confidence.
Yeah. He had a lot of confidence in everything, but if that was a helicopter shot, then I'm the Airbus A380. But anyway. I mean, just hit it straight. Where was that? Anyway. Okay, I just did a helicopter.
Yes.
And I unmiked myself. I've put it back also. Anti-efficient. I've put it back as well. Anyway, we still haven't talked about the run chase because this is all set up beautifully for Chris Gayle to have a nice finish, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I think it looks good looks ripe for Chris Gayle to come and take it, right? I think it's you don't have too many quick bowlers. I think his only danger initially would be Malinga, maybe Isrudana's slower ones initially, as in if he can catch them.
You
then
think De Silva is going to start now with
could be
Gayle on strike?
Could be, yeah.
Face off?
Could be, yeah.
Might be the case.
But I don't think he'll hold back if the spinner comes on. I think he'll take them on today.
Yeah, I think today's game is
today
like
he'll
that.
just like, mujhe marna hai.
336, 339 to get.
Yeah. He has the number 333 in his mind. That's his jersey number. So he'll say, it's around that. So I just need to get that.
But he has been batting well. I mean, that's one thing which we've seen in the tournament. He was very determined to make that impact on the tournament, and he has got runs as well. So he's been consistent with the starts. Has not got the 100 as yet in the tournament. So hopefully tonight is the night where he gets 100.
But no matter who opens the bowling, it'll be good to see Malinga bowling to Gayle. It'll be a nice finish to this.
I've enjoyed watching Malinga right throughout this World Cup. He has really come and bowled his heart out and put up the numbers as well. Against England also getting those 4 wickets for 43 and making that impact. You look at that strong England side and you look at his wickets in that particular match, it was phenomenal. He got all the key players out in that England team.
Yeah.
Be it Butler, be it Root and Bairstow. So, there's a phenomenal effort in the World Cup by the legend.
It's not a coincidence that when we saw that list on both sides, we mentioned it earlier, now we're seeing it with the numbers, that the 2 games Malinga bowled so beautifully were the 2 games Sri Lanka won. Look on the left, Gayle got a 50 against Pakistan, which they won, and that 87 will really, 9 times out of 10, they should have been winning that particular game after Brathwaite's effort.
They lost that match by, I think, 1 feet.
Yeah, well, less than that. Oh boy.
It was not runs in wickets. They lost that by 1 feet.
Oh, certainly was. But you still would put Sri Lanka as favourites after that? Runs on the board?
I'd like to put Sri Lanka as favourites also because I like to back the underdog, and I think in this game Sri Lanka are the underdogs, and I think they will defend that score. I have faith in that bowling lineup, in Malinga especially. If Malinga comes good in those first spell of his, then watch out West Indies.
And Zaheer, before I ask you who are favourites, we must actually point towards Zaheer Khan just to confirm that he is in fact sitting on the My 11 Circle expert couch, because we had a slightly different twist on that today. Predicted 45 for 1, Sri Lanka were 49 for no loss, so that was close enough. I was the other side.
Lucky to get this. I was lucky to get the couch.
It's alright, you make your own luck. We've You were close enough.
I think you're happy that Fernando scored runs and you.
Yeah,
got
today
those
he's in a
points
good
in
mood,
there.
isn't he? You
that's
see him in
right.
he's
That's
actually
why
in
the
a good
energy
mood
is completely
today.
different.
Yeah.
He picked up Avishka Fernando in
He
his...
tried so hard to get him out for a duck.
Yeah, no, you picked up Avishka as your captain.
Yes,
didn't you?
my
And
11th circle team is rocking, absolutely, and it's not done yet because I've still got some performers. Still, Christopher Henry's there to make a few runs to add to the points, but
you're leading by what, 100 points right now?
yeah, I've got lots. I've got lots.
So,
Yeah.
so you know you've sorted yourself out today.
Yeah, if only I could rub my energy off on the West Indian team, then they would have been performing better. And yes, I've got the maroon on. So I've got the maroon on, supporting Avishka Fernando. That's all what cricket is all about. Thank you,
We
gentlemen.
are used to that.
Yeah.
What, me being on both sides of the fence?
Yeah.
Yeah. You being a hustler.
Yeah. Yesterday, we don't have to go that far.
Yeah. You flow where the
Blue
wind
and,
blows,
blue
brother.
and orange sitting there saying, I think England is going to win. I think England has got a chance.
I think this is the time we need to end the show. Thank you, gentlemen. Lovely to have you here. Love you, gentlemen. 15th over, Cricbuzz, Combox. We're not... Look, they're still at it. That's it. We're finishing the show right here.
Fernando
My
to score
11th circle presents
Closing the show.
Cricbuzz Live. We're gone. We're gone. We'll see you in the 15th over, Cricbuzz, Combox.
No, friend.